Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Agyana Timura Andasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatade Satarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivatadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Come on, all of you join. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Hare,
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
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 Hare.
Hare,
Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yes, let's go ahead. Prabhu, is it possible for you to share the Veda base?
Pure Mother.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, Gita Mataji, you can start. So prior to that, we will quickly go to Dwaraka. Just 1 second.
Hare Krishna. Which purport, Mataji?
Well, we'll be just 1 second, Mataji. We'll just wait for a second because I'm just.
Okay.
Prabhu will be sharing the 13th purport because we did 1 to 12 last time. We will revise in 1 minute.
Okay, Mataji.
Just doing some catching up. Prabhu, tell me once because I'm not able to see the screen. So
Yeah, just a minute.
no
Just hold on.
problem. Please take your time.
First Canto, chapter 10, right?
That's right.
Got chapter 10. Which verse you say?
13th verse, Prabhu.
13.
You can share
Okay,
from Veda base, yeah.
sure. Okay. I got it.
Yes. So just a quick thing which we'll be talking about is we're talking about Yudhishthira Maharaj, trying to take care of Krishna. So we will go ahead from there. So we are talking about what's happening overall is 1 to 6 we saw. We are talking about Yudhishthira's Maharaj kingdom, right? So after Bhishma actually passed away, Yudhishthira Maharaj ruled the kingdom so well based on 2 main doctrines. One is Krishna's word and Bhishma Pitama's word. So basically, all they are telling is even though Yudhishthira Maharaj is Dharmaraj, he did not follow a blind doctrine. He very clearly went by not only what the Shastras told, but also the Sadhu's word and the Lord's word. So this is what we saw. So we also saw how great the kingdom was and how it was. So it starts off, the whole scene opens with Saunika Rishi's questions about Yudhishthira. Right? Normally, there will be conflict of interest if one brother is ruling, but particularly in this case, he was not. That was not happening at all because Yudhishthira Maharaj's kingdom was glorious. It was more like Bharat Maharaj. If you quite remember, Bharat Maharaj was ruling a kingdom and he also had his other brothers who were supporting other parts. So Yudhishthira Maharaj also was ruling the kingdom and he had dedicated his brothers to take care of the other parts of the kingdom who were actually reporting him. So he never had, or they never rather had, conflict of interest. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna. Yeah. So they never had conflict of interest. Prabhu, show the shloka because Mataji will read the shloka as well. And what happened from 2-3 is Krishna was very pleased because Yudhishthira was ruling, and that is exactly what he wanted. And especially, as I said, between he was going by the preachings of Krishna and Bhishma Dev, and this was what was happening in verse 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Yes, they're talking about the kingdom which is supposed to be prosperous. So you all tell me, how did the kingdom, what were the indications to show that the kingdom was prosperous? Hare Krishna. Can you?
All of the people were very happy. There was abundance of the fruits and the grains,
Yes,
abundance of the rain,
correct.
and there was peace and tranquility all around.
Yes, and anybody would like to add points?
And cows would give sufficient milk. Yeah.
Anything to
No,
add?
no
Yes,
natural disasters as such.
perfect, very nice. Anybody else?
No extreme heat or cold.
Yeah, that's true. That's in the 6th verse. There's no extreme heat or cold. And also, a few things is cows. Yes, the cows literally were milking and they were taking care of the floor, right? So Krishna is called Govinda. And Krishna actually was taking the mother, the cow was considered as a mother. So Krishna was lover of mother cow. And if you talk about our Baldev, if you see, there is always a plow in his hand. So which means that he was actually taking care of the ox, the bull, right? So bull is considered as a father. So as long as a proper simple life is concerned, all of them need one small piece of land, right? And a bull and a cow. So that's all they need. Today, if you see, there are a lot of people who have gone into what's called farming, organic farming. Either they go personally plow or they get people to do, and they have sufficient basic stuff which they are managing to have for themselves. So this is what is actually called the Devi Varnashra community, which Prabhupada was actually trying to promote. This was already there during Yudhishthira rule, which is why the rule of Yudhishthira was almost compared to that of the kingdom of Lord Rama. And, and there were no mental agonies, as you all said, and diseases, which is very important. No extensive heat or cold. So there was no need for air condition. And Krishna lived for some more days there. Why did Krishna stay for some more time? Can anyone tell me why did Krishna stay for some more time?
He wanted to pacify them as well as his sister Subhadra.
Perfect. Sister Subhadra. So did Sister Subhadra go to Krishna and tell, stay back? Is there anywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, have we ever seen Subhadra going to Krishna and telling, I want you to stay back for me? Hare Krishna?
No, no.
No, thank you so much, Prabhu. Then why does Krishna stay back?
Because they were feeling sad because he's leaving. Only that's the only reason.
Yes, and over
Separation.
Yes, but actually what you said was also right. Subhadra was going through a lot of trauma and she wanted a brother there. The brother is considered as a father, which is why if you see, Balram is also called Dau. Though he was of the same age, the gopis related to Balram as Badahu, which means brother, and the way he related to them was in the Vatsalya Bhav. So if you are actually seeing any of the Leelas, especially the Kaliya Natanam and all that, you will see Balram uses so much of love and affection to the gopis like a father and consoles them. So the same role Krishna has to take when it comes to Subhadra, because Subhadra is the younger sister and she's actually gone through a lot of trauma, and Krishna stays back there mainly because he is able to see. This is called non-verbal communication, right? So body, mind, and so words are three ways where we can execute an action. We have this shloka also, right? The pure devotional service. Anya abhilashita sunyam jnana karmani anavritam anukuleni krishna anushilanam bhakti uttama. Shilanam means action. I'm just taking a simple word, which means you can serve Krishna with body, words and mind. Yes, we are trained to serve right now at sadhaka stage with body and words, but mind, right, also is service. So when we think of Krishna, that is also that. And as it says, Subhadra was thinking and she was longing for Krishna to be there because she was in terrible pain. And Krishna always recognizes and understands that there's a lot of pain, and therefore, Krishna is trying to console, trying to play the part of the brother and try to work around it, and which is exactly what he is doing. And he stays back for a while, mainly for Subhadra's case. So that is also taken care. Now, coming back to the next important point. So what does Subhadra actually do? So after staying there, now he is leaving. And we are going to see a very beautiful verse today. So they are talking about what is the relationship. The separation between Krishna and them are unbearable. Why is it unbearable? Because for us also, if you see, when we go for Kirtan, if it's long queue, we feel tired, right? But once the queue and once the Kirtan is getting over, we start feeling that we are missing it. Have we felt it? Yes or no? Oh, let it be a little more. One more sloka, one more song. Hare Krishna. You're so silent. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji, definitely.
Okay. So sometimes we feel that, right? So there is an unbearable separation which which all of them are feeling over there, right? And literally they all fainted. That's the kind of a thing. So basically, as I said, expansion of Sheelanam is action through body, mind. So mind they were feeling, and Anusheelanam means constantly, like 24/7. Constantly they were telling. And on whom are they constantly thinking? Krishna Anusheelanam. On Krishna, they are actually constantly thinking with their body, mind, and words, right? So Anyabhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavritam Anukule and Krishna. So they were all thinking were they thinking favorably or like Kamsa? Oh, we have to destroy. What was their mood? Hare Krishna. Can somebody mute and talk? It's so silent.
Favorably, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, favorably. So they were having a very favorable mood, and we should also have a favorable mood, and we have to do direct devotional service 24/7 on Krishna. So this is what is the meaning of the verse. Now so that was the mood of the devotees, and that's exactly what Rupa Goswami explains to us in Nectar of Devotion, which we saw in Bhakti Shastri. And right now we are moving to 1.10.13, where we will still, Gita Mataji, can you take us line by line so that we'll all follow you? Hare Krishna.
Text, shall I recite text?
Yeah, that's what, line by line so that we can all provide.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sarve te nimishar access.
Sarve te nimishar akshais.
Tam anudruta chetasaha.
Tam anudruta chetasaha.
Shantaha sneha sambandha.
Vikshantaha sneha sambandha.
Vilastratra tatraha.
Vichilastatra tatraha.
Sarve all, they, animishay, without twinkling of the eyes, akshay, by the eye, tam anu, after him, druta chetasaha, melted heart, vikshantaha, looking upon him, sneha sambandha, bound by pure affection, viselaha, began to move, tatra, here and there, ha, so they did. Translation: all their hearts were melting for him on the pot of attraction. They looked at him without blinking their eyes, and they moved hither and hither in perplexity. Purport: Krishna is naturally attractive for all living beings because he is the chief eternal amongst all eternals. He alone is the maintainer of the many eternals. This is stated in the Katha Upanishad. And thus one can obtain permanent peace and prosperity by revival of one's eternal relation with him, now forgotten under the spell of Maya, the illusory energy of the Lord. Once this relation is slightly revived, the conditioned souls at once becomes freed from the illusions of material energy and becomes mad after the association of the Lord. This association is made possible not only by personal contact with the Lord, but also by association with his name, fame, form, and quality. Srimad Bhagavatam trains the conditioned soul to this stage of perfection by submissive hearing from the pure devotee.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So basically, they are talking, what is Srimad Bhagavatam trying to do, right? It's trying to train the souls for submission, right? So basically, the most important, that which is why I brought this shloka. What is submission? So we're talking about 18.66. What did Krishna tell, right? What did Krishna tell in 18.66, which is the last instruction in Bhagavad Gita? Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papvebhyo moksha ikshami ma suchaha. So what is he trying to connect is most important thing which he is trying to connect is that the first shloka which I told, Anya Abhilashita Sunyam, and this one, both are directly linking. Why and how are they linking is because of the fact that these two are having a direct connection, because Krishna is telling that you can surrender all that, whatever you're talking about, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all of that you can completely surrender onto me. And why is Krishna telling that is because that is, so you do not have to worry about any of the sins because I'm going to take care, which means you need a lot of Shraddha. Right? Shraddha means what? Faith. So if you need faith, if you have faith, you can completely surrender onto Krishna. You can forget about anything which you're connecting to, either bodily relationships, which can be like, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the daughter, I am the wife, or even things like I am the country head, whatever, or any of the varnas and ashramas. I'm a Kshatriya, I'm a Vaishya, any of the roles, right? So he's telling you can leave. So what does Srimad Bhagavatam actually do? Right? So we have seen very clearly also. What does it say? Dharmaha swanistita pumshan vishwaksheno katashvaha notpateyati ritam shramaeva hi kevalam. So dharmaha swanishtita pumshan, which means that dharma, which means very clearly whatever we are talking about religious duty, none of that will have value unless we are directly going to connect to Krishna, unless we are talking about Krishna Kada. So now coming back to connecting the stories of Narada and Vyasa, what were we talking about? Why did Vyasa what did Narada advise Vyasa? What was Narada advising Vyasa? Can anyone unmute?
Mataji, Narada advised Vyasa to glorify the name, forms, and qualities of Krishna in his scriptures.
But
Then
didn't
he
he?
will get the real satisfaction.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So didn't he do it already? Didn't Vyasa already write I mean, he had one Chatur Veda, which was divided into 4 Vedas. Did he not do already writing Mahabharata and all of the Purana?
He did not highlight it.
Thank you so much. Both of you, very nice answer. He wrote, but he did not highlight, right? So many things were focused on Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. And if it is indirectly given, people are already confused, right? We saw that in the first canto, first chapter, 10th shloka. Prayin alpaisha sabde kalo asmin yuge janaha mandaha sumandamatayo mandabhagya upahritaha. So what happens? When we are stuck with such kind of deluded mind, we will get into the carpet and we will continuously be focusing only on Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, because we will tell. Vyasa himself told. So therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam is very important because it is written, because it trains us for perfection. We, unfortunately, most of us are not having the Raga Nika Bhakti. We can't automatically be following whatever is there. So we just have to practice what's called the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Right? So that is what we're going to do. Srimad Bhagavatam facilitates us. Of course, no doubt it's for all of them, but particularly this. So here, Krishna is, what is our main duty? What is our role? What is our dharma? What is the dharma of human being?
Servant to be the
Haribol. Very nice, Mataji.
servant.
Servant. We are the servitor of Krishna. That is our constitutional position. Everything else is actually either supporting that statement or underlying that statement or masking. So very clearly we are the servant. So what is happening is they are in that position. Now you may tell, Mataji, this, how can you tell that? Because their hearts are melting, but they are also doing the day-to-day activity. Arjuna, Yudhishthira are running a kingdom, right? So Anya Abhilashita Suryam, they do not have any other desires. It's all zero. Jnana Karmani Sunyam is also right? So we should keep it as Jnana Sarmani. Why Rupa Goswami gave it as Anavritam? Anybody to guess? Why not Jnana Karmani Sutram? Sunyam, sorry. Because if it is Jnana Karmani Suna, we'll have only Haridas Thakur and Sad Goswamis who will qualify, right? But these are people who are actually trying to tell they are covered, right? Anavrita means, so why are they going to be uncovered with Jnana Karma? Because even though they are doing their Jnana and Karma, they 24/7, Anushilanam, they are thinking only of Krishna. Therefore, whatever you all told me at the beginning, Vipralamba Baba, they are facing, the moment they are telling that Krishna is leaving, they are just not able to tolerate the feeling that Krishna is leaving them. Even the very thought is very difficult for them because they are always thinking of Krishna all the time. This was also Gopi Bhav, but this is also the people in, in the kingdoms Bhav. 14 Shloka, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Please have your hand raised, whoever wants to read.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srimad Bhagavatam 1.10.14. Nyarundhan utkalat bhashpam.
Yarundam Utkala
Bhashpam.
Autkya devaki sute.
Devaki
Devaki Sute.
Niryat no abhadram. Iti syad bandhava striyaha. Nyarundhan, checking with great difficulty.
Mataji, we can skip the synonyms if that's okay. We'll go to translation.
Okay,
Thank you so
Mataji.
much.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The female relatives whose eyes were flooded with tears out of anxiety for Krishna came out of the palace. They could stop their tears only with great difficulty. They feared that tears would cause misfortune at the time of departure. Purport: there were hundreds of ladies in the palace of Hastinapura. All of them were affectionate to Krishna. All of them were relatives also. When they saw that Krishna was going away from the palace for his native place, they were very anxious for him, and as usual, tears began to roll down their cheeks. They thought at the same time that tears at that moment might be a cause of misfortune for Krishna. Therefore, they wanted to check them. This was very difficult for them because the tears could not be checked. Therefore, they smeared their tears in their eyes and their hearts throbbed. Therefore, ladies who were the wives and daughters-in-law of those who died in the battlefield never came in direct contact with Krishna. But all of them heard of him and his great activities, and thus they thought of him, talked of him, his name, fame, etc., and became affectionate also, like those who were in the direct contact. Therefore, directly or indirectly, anyone who thinks of Krishna, talks of Krishna, or worships Krishna becomes attached to him. Because Krishna is absolute, there is no difference between his name, form, quality, etc. Our intimate relation with Krishna can be confidentially revived by our talking of, hearing of, or remembering him. It is so done due to spiritual potency. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So they are very clear about what happened, right? Shravanam, we know of the Angas, the most important Anga is Shravanam. So many of them have not even seen Krishna. They have only heard of Krishna. But still, why is that having so much of impact? Why are they highlighting this? Because we can actually see Krishna through years, which is very important for us, for our learning, because we are in Kali Yuga. One more example. Can anyone tell me an example of someone who was very, very fond of Krishna without seeing him? Extremely in love with Krishna without seeing him, but only heard.
Rukmini.
Haribol, very nice, Rukmini. Why are we taking Rukmini into consideration is we are all in the path of Rukmini because we have never seen Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita is like the love letter which Krishna has written to us, right? So it's only Shravanam we have, and Srimad Bhagavatam talks about does the role of Narada Muni, written by the Sishya of Narada Vyasa, right? So what does Narada do? Narada only keeps talking, elevating, highlighting about Krishna, and the form of Krishna is forming an impression. And that's exactly what Vyasa did. He is talking to us through Krishna, right? And that is actually helping us to form an impression, and we are going to fall in love with Krishna. That's a process we are doing, which is what we also saw, right? So after Krishna left, what was it? Where did religious principle take shelter on? Right? This is something which we already read. Krishnaye Damo Pagate Dharmanyana Divi Saha Kalo Nashta Drishtam Eva Puranarko Dyunoditaha. So after Krishna left, Jnana and Karma, right? Where did they take shelter? They took shelter in Srimad Bhagavatam, which means Srimad Bhagavatam is very much Krishna himself, right? So there's no difference between Krishna, his name, fame, and the words of Krishna. So whatever we are doing right now, right? We are talking about Krishna. Unfortunately, we are not able to see Krishna. But as this conversation is going on, we are actually visualizing Krishna in our heart. We are actually doing direct devotional service. Listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, talking about Krishna is direct, right? It's called Swarupa Siddhi Bhakti, which means directly we are connecting to Krishna in a one-on-one phase. Now, what is happening? Now, the people over here are all related to Krishna. Why are they not crying? It's okay to cry, right? Does crying means it's bad? Does it show a weakness? Does crying means bad? Crying means weakness?
No, Mataji. It could also mean love and affection.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So very happy also you cry. My mom always says, I don't cry when I'm sad. But it seems when I was little, I used to cry when I started laughing. Thanks, Prabhu. That is one heads up. But otherwise, why are they, like Prabhu very beautifully brought, it's also love and affection. So Prabhu, if it's love and affection, why are they not allowing the tears to roll? Why are they trying to control? Today, we all control because it's prestige problem. Were they also having prestige problem like us?
It's because they feel that tears rolling down the eyes at the time of departure makes the whole thing inauspicious.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So we
Yes,
call it
Mataji.
Abashagun, right?
Yes,
So
Mataji.
yeah, so it is making the whole thing inauspicious. So that's the kind of feeling they had, even though they want to cry. What's the most difficult thing in life? Easy is to cry, right? Easy is to shout. Difficult is to have your tears blocking your eye, trying to roll, be trying to control it, fight it out, and then putting a smile. Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
That's
Yes,
the most
Mataji.
difficult thing. Easy is to cry. I think we all loved being children because nobody bothered. We were not judged. We were not being judged. We used to just cry. But now what's happening? Oh, we want to cry, but we can't cry because somebody is watching us. Or we don't want someone to get upset because we are crying. Right? So I am going to take a small detour. My granny told me two things when I was little. She said, you should never cry in two situations. She said, if your tears are going to make someone sad, don't cry. I said, okay. If your tears are going to make someone laugh, don't cry. So I said, okay, sure, pakka, promise, pinky promise. But then I realized these are only two occasions, right? Either your tears will make someone who's bad happy or it's going to make them sad. I never found a third occasion. So it was very difficult, right? So it was very nice as a child. You said, okay, 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 Nani, okay, Mama, and all that. And then when you look back, because this is the most difficult part, they are literally bleeding through their eyes and they want to control the tears because they feel it can bring misfortune for Krishna. Even at the most ailing moment in your life, okay, and you want to cry, you want to break, and you still think even crying you don't want to do because that creates misfortune to Krishna, is the kind of love, right? Unlike if it was me, I would go and tell, hey, you're going, I'm feeling so sad, right? So this is showing the exalted love of the people over there. So with this, we'll move on. If there are any doubts, you'll ask me. I do not know how equipped I am to handle the doubts with my very limited few seconds of preparation, but we can all jointly give a try. So if it's clear, we'll go ahead.
And sometimes it is weakness also, sign of weakness.
Yes, Mataji. Sometimes it's a sign of weakness, but in this case, is it a sign of weakness?
Well, they're overwhelmed actually.
Sorry, Priyadashini Mataji, your voice is very feeble.
They're overwhelmed, Mataji.
They are overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed with grief. They are just not able to take their heads off. So now, so what did we actually do so far? So we have seen Krishna's terrible, very beautiful, attractive influence over people, right? Now Krishna is going to take off. Now what's going to happen is we are going to see Krishna, how he is very appropriately honored. So we're going to see how Krishna is being respected, how they're going to see him off, in spite of the fact they don't want to see him. Now, before we get into it, there is one thing which says that the women went to the top, right, of the rooftop, and they were trying to look at Krishna. So why did they have to do all that is what we are going to see and understand. What are the reasons behind that, and why all these things happened, like, different, how did they greet, how did individually each of them behave, what was Arjuna's role, what did Uddhava do? All this we'll be covering. And what did the Brahmanas do? What did they do? What kind of conversations they all had? And who is Krishna? Why are they feeling so bad? Obviously, who is Krishna, they know better. Right now, we also know. But how did they see him off? So that is something which we are going to see. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead, 15 to 16. 15th verse. Anybody likes to read?
Shall I, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Mridanga Shankha Bhiryascha
Mridanga Shankha Bhiryascha
Veena Panavago Mukhaha
Veena Panavago Mukhaha
Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya
Dunduri Anaka Ghantadya
Netur Dundu Bhayastatha.
Nedur Dundu Bhayastatha.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Any translation, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. I'm waiting. Sorry.
Thank you.
I'm dependent on you to take the class. So please go ahead.
No, not with
Hare
the
Krishna.
translation by Sri Prabhupada Gaji. While the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastinapura, different types of drums like the mridanga, dhola, nagra, dunduri, and dundubi, and flutes of different types, the veena, gomukha, and bheri, all sounded together to show him honor.
So they are talking about how they had welcomed him. Likewise, they are also seeing him off, right? So the kind of honor which they're giving. So they're all showing all these things, mirdanga, dola, all that. Like how for a wedding we will have all this. So that's a kind of treatment they are giving to Krishna also. We can go to next. And Mataji, is it okay if you can read this shloka also for us?
Oh yeah, certainly. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah. Prasada Shikararudhaha.
Prasada
Shikararudhaha.
I'm sorry, Prasada. I'm very sorry. Prasada Shikararudhaha.
Prasada Shikararudhaha.
Runaryo Didrikshaya.
Runaryo Didrikshaya.
Vavrushu Kusmahai Krishnam.
Vavrushu Kusumai Krishnam.
Prema Vreda Smite Kshanaha.
Prema Vreda Smite Kshanaha.
Translation. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on the top of the palace and, smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Do I read purport also, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah, purport. Shyness is a particular extra natural beauty of the fair sex, and it commands respect from the opposite sex. This custom was observed even during the days of Mahabharata, that is, more than 5,000 years ago. It's only the less intelligent persons, not well versed in the history of the world, who say that observance of separation of female from male is an introduction of the Mohammedan period in India. This incident from the Mahabharata period proves definitely that the ladies of the palace observed strict parda, restricted association with men, and instead of coming down in the open air where Lord Krishna and others were assembled, the ladies of the palace went up on the top of the palace and from there paid their respects to Lord Krishna by showers of flowers. It's definitely stated here that the ladies were smiling there on the top of the palace, checked by shyness. This shyness is a gift of nature to the fair sex, and it enhances their beauty and prestige, even if they are of a less important family or even if they are less attractive. We have practical experience of this fact. A sweeper woman commanded the respect of many respectable gentlemen simply by manifesting a lady's shyness. Half-naked ladies in the street do not command any respect. but a sheer sweeper's wife commands respect from all. Human civilization, as conceived of by the sages of India, is to help one free himself from the clutches of illusion. The material beauty of a woman is an illusion because actually the body is made of earth, water, fire, air, etc. But because there is the association of the living spark with matter, it appears to be beautiful. No one is attracted by an earthen doll, even if it is most perfectly prepared to attract the attention of others. The dead body has no beauty because no one will accept the dead body of a so-called beautiful woman. Therefore, the conclusion is that the spirit spark is beautiful, and because of the soul's beauty, one is attracted by the beauty of the outward body. The Vedic wisdom, therefore, forbids us to be attracted by false beauty. But because we are now in the darkness of ignorance, the Vedic civilization allows very restricted mixing of woman and man. They say that the woman is considered to be the fire and the man is considered to be the butter. The butter must melt in association with fire, and therefore they may be brought together only when it is necessary. And shyness is a check to the unrestricted mixing. It's a natural gift and it must be utilized. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So very nice. Thank you so much for reading. So what are we talking about very clearly is shyness, right? So today I think we are always getting confused between shyness and boldness. Today, most of the time, a person can be bold and shy. Example, Draupadi. She was very bold, right? We have seen her handling a lot of trauma. Kunti Maharani, previous generation to even Draupadi. Imagine she was actually handling her, she was a young widow, right? Can you give me more examples of people, for women who were both
Satyavati, mother of the Pandu and grandmother of Pandus and Kurus, Dhritarashtra.
and boldness?
Yeah.
Sorry, Babu?
Even Sita Devi in Ramayana, Mataji. Sita Devi.
Absolutely.
Satyavati.
Sita Vedi, Satyavati, exactly. So all of them are Kshatriya clan, right? So when they are in the Kshatriya clan, you can imagine what kind of boldness they had. They were so bold that they were able to even handle people single-handedly. There were wars they have fought. And of course, there are lots of women. So the problem with us is because we have not read Shastras, we get superficially influenced by, what is boldness? In the middle of the night, we will drive the car. I still have my one of my relative who says that, hey, to drive the car. Can we drive at the middle of the night? There's nothing wrong. Even a small child can actually drive in the middle of the night. Yes or no? If she knows to drive a car, I think pretty much we'll be able to drive the car wherever. Because car does not need any major manpower. The problem is what will happen is if there is a problem in the road or something, that is when we will need somebody to help us. Now, the one thing which we should understand is man and women are inevitable for each other. I am not getting into relationships here. I'm not talking about husband for a wife, wife for a husband, but I'm just talking about two gender. As a daughter or as a child or as a son, I think the son needs both the mother and the father. A daughter needs both the mother and the father. Agree, disagree?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Usha Mataji. I think only both of us are in sync. So why I'm saying is, only when it comes to husband and wife, there is a conflict of superiority. But when it comes to children generally like both, right? And when it comes to friends, we like both friends, whether it's male friends or female friends. When it comes to work, we want both to work, women or men. But the fact is, shyness is independent of that. Shyness not only gives beauty to the lady, but shyness is very important because it draws the Lakshmana Rekha. It's very important that if a girl exhibits shyness, it will keep the guy under check, irrespective of whichever age the person is, whether the girl is 16 years or whether the girl or the so-called lady is 60 years, right? It puts the person under check because they also feel, okay, this person commands respect, not demands respect. Today, what is happening is we are demanding respect. We as women, we go around telling that I need respect. I don't think any of them ever asked for respect. Have you ever seen anywhere, any lady, whether right from Sita Devi or someone, has ever asked for respect? It was natural for them. Why? Because of shyness. The shyness earned their respect, at the same time drew a Lakshmana Rekha and put them in place, right? So this is something which I thought I should be able to, bring that. But is there anybody else who would like to throw some light? It looks like I am either you all are very upset with my class or you feel that I am not really doing justice. Please tell me if I have to correct.
No,
Because
no,
I've
no, no, no.
seen the class being more interactive when Pran Chaitanya Prabhu is there. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, everything is going on perfectly well.
Fine,
Carry on.
fine.
Thank you, Prabhu. Then I wish everybody contributes because the questions are very simple because my knowledge is also simple. So I'm keeping that as per the flow. So what do you all view? I want to ask the men view. Why women always ask about the women? Prabhu, can you all tell me what is the view you will expect from a girl? Would you really like a girl being just bold, or you will also accept a girl who's very shy and you feel she's also a person with great quality, character, and boldness?
I think both at the appropriate time should be exhibited, always.
Absolutely.
These days, you have to be, sense of propriety has to be there. When what has to be exhibited, when what is needed, actually.
Thank you, Mataji.
Sometimes boldness is needed. We have to be bold, of course, in our own way.
Sure.
I feel so much, yeah.
Yes. And anybody have a very contrasting view about shyness? No, shyness is the old story. Right now, we should not have shyness at all. This is just conflict of interest. Does anybody feel like that? Hare Krishna. Too much of silence. I said I was talking about shyness, not silence, just in case.
Mataji,
No, Mataji.
shyness should not be taken as a negative trait. It should not be mistaken for timidity and,
Right.
submissiveness.
Correct.
Yeah, it is just holding your dignity intact.
Very beautifully explained. Shyness is a statement for holding your dignity. It is not a version of your weakness. It is not your coward. It is not your inability to do something. It is just that, like as she said, it's holding your dignity. It's like having your very clear Lakshmana Rekha and a Rekha which neither we cross nor let somebody else cross over it. So that is a point which you have to, tell. Hare Krishna. Yes. So we are talking about women and going there, they're just looking at Krishna, controlling their tears, still trying to throw a lot of things like flowers, all of them and all that. And Krishna is actually saying that all these women are beautiful, unlike the dead body. So even the most beautiful women, I think there was this cine actress Sri Devi who was considered a almost all-time beautiful lady across the entire India. South she was very popular. I think North also she was popular. I think most of you all know that, right? Nobody would want to do
Yes,
a
Mataji.
Nobody would want a mummification about her. Yes, people were gossiping about her, what happened to her after she died, but nobody really wanted. Marilyn Monroe, very, very beautiful, all of them are. What happened after their death? People, it's gone out of their head. It's completely washed off. Does anybody remember the story which we had in our level 1 class about, or level 2 class, I don't remember, about a lady who actually was asked, like in the sense, I think there was a guy who was proposing her and she told, give me 2 weeks time. And what she did is she really starved herself to barely any food. And she had, when he came back, she gave a lot of, excretions of her and showed her and showed that this was a girl and he never liked. So the point is beauty is what the eye sees, right? And beauty is in the eye of the beholders. Like that, only when there is flesh and blood, people like. Along with the flesh and blood, there should also be consciousness, which is life. Nobody really, have you ever gone to any dead body and said, wow, this lady is good? We may feel sorry. Wow, this girl has died very young. But we would never say, wow, she's so nice. I wish I had a coffee with her. Prabhus, have you all ever thought of that, seeing a very beautiful dead body? Hi, Krishna.
No, Mataji. No, Mataji.
Yeah, so that's typically where I think Prabhu is a doctor. So he knows the kind of women he's dealing with. A lot of people, people, even their own family, kith and kin, will disown when the life is not there. And also one more thing about beauty is, today I think people are talking about artificial intelligence, robotics, especially abroad, they are talking about women or men, especially women, to be designed exactly like human, with the same human intelligence, human artificial intelligence rather, the texture of, but irrespective of whatever, people still are getting married, even though they may not want to have a child with human, because people want that consciousness. They do not want remote control, right? So that is what makes it unique. So there is no replacement for life. There is absolutely no replacement for life at all, right? So this is something which I thought I'll leave and we'll move on to the next sloka. Hare Krishna. Sita. Yeah, okay. Somebody else better can do justice to this. Some attendance link is marked there, so you can go ahead. Hare Krishna. Yeah, please go ahead. Yes, Vipin Prabhu has said, shyness is an ornament for lady. Same way, forgiveness is an ornament for Kshatriya. Yes, absolutely, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yes, somebody who would like to read? Why is a lot of singers not there? Lalita Vinodini Mataji, please unmute. Hare Krishna. I think Mataji sings.
Vipin Vilas Prabhuji sings very well.
Ah, okay, Prabhu, please go ahead. Please chant. We will follow you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vipin Vilas Prabhuji.
Yeah, he's unmuted just now. Please go ahead. We'll follow you, Prabhu.
I am from mobile. Just give me. I have to enlarge 1 second.
Ah, no problem, Prabhu. Sure.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Sita tapatram jagraha. Sorry. Score where I have to play. Sita tapatram jagraha mukta. Oh my! I forget this.
May I, Mataji?
Sita tapat. Mataji, someone else can. I forget that.
If you don't mind, I'll. Yeah. Sita.
Yeah, you can, Mataji. You can.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sita tapatram jagraha.
Sita tapatram jagraha.
Mukta dama vibhushitam.
Dama
vibhushitam.
Ratnadandam gudakeshaha.
Ratnadandam gudakeshaha.
Priyaha priyatamasyaha. Thank you all. Thank you.
Somebody do the reading. Gunashri Mataji, you're there. You can actually read yours. Very silent. Yeah, but Prabhu, we're not able to see. Yeah, please, anybody read, no?
I'll do
Translation.
that.
Yeah.
Translation. At that time, Arjuna, the great warrior and conqueror of sleep, who is the intimate friend of the most beloved Supreme Lord, took upon an umbrella which had a handle of jewels and was embroidered with lace and pearls. Purport. Gold, jewels, pearls, and valuable stones were used in the luxurious royal ceremonies. They are all nature's gifts and are produced by the hills, oceans, etc., by the order of the Lord. When a man does not waste his valuable time in producing unwanted things in the name of necessities. By so-called development of industrial enterprises, they are now using pots of gutta percha instead of metals like gold, silver, brass, and copper. They are using margarine instead of purified butter, and 1/4 of the city's population has no shelter. Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So basically, today the situation has become so difficult, like everything is getting replaced, right? So we used to give only, it seems the golden era, they used to give only gold vessels, even before the deity. Not only deity, even people used to eat in that. And some of these had very good properties, which were very good for health. And so was silver. I still remember my dad gifting me silver plates. And that's a plate which we use for the deity also. But as of now, I think most of the places, brass and copper is almost out. Now they are reselling it at a very high cost. And also today, wherever you go, I think you have what's called the ceramic plates, or it's even degraded to the extent of paper plates. Now let's take a U-turn around paper plates. Where is paper coming from?
Wood.
Wood. And where is wood coming from?
Tree.
So we are actually destroying what? We're actually destroying, the trees. We are actually
environment.
Absolutely.
Trees.
So this is something which we can actually avoid, right? But we are talking about hygiene and we are using this. How hygienic is this? We have no idea how hygienic any of these are, because they are lying in the godowns for years together, not washed, and we have no idea how many rats have scaled over it. And what is the situation? Besides doing nature destruction, we are also doing self-destruction. And today, margarine, I heard margarine is dalda. I don't know what you call that in Hindi. And I also do not know. What is gutta percha? Anybody knows what is gutta percha? Somebody can look up what is Gutta Parsha. But margarine, I heard, is dalda, which is done instead of butter. So that is the kind of situation which we are going through. So this is the thing. So what is Arjuna called? Conqueror of sleep. What is the other name of Arjuna which says conqueror of sleep? Does anybody know?
Gudakesha.
Gudakesha. Thank you so much, Matadi. Gudakesha. Arjuna has another name also as a conqueror of wealth. What is that called?
Dhananjaya.
Haribol, Dhananjaya. So these are the names which which Arjuna has got. And obviously, a lot of other names we saw in the previous chapter.
Avalanche.
Vijaya. Sorry, Madhuri? Hare Krishna. Yeah. So this was the situation earlier, and this is what we are experiencing now as well. So with that, what is happening is they are showing the kind of love and the respect which Arjuna is showing. Arjuna loved Krishna, but that never stopped him from respecting him. So they were actually keeping the flag, and he was walking, sorry, not the flag, the umbrella, and walking along the way of Krishna. And the umbrella was also highly decorated with jewelry and all that, which shows the richness of kingdom. In fact, they do this still. If you see, I'm not very sure about North, but in South India, the temple, whenever the Lord is taken out, they will still hold the umbrella, which is highly decorated. I do not know if people in the North had a chance to visit any of these, where they come for the, going around, whatever you call it. God goes on on an outing. At that time, they keep, when Krishna goes on outing, I'm not talking about Dwaraka time. I'm talking about the deity. Krishna goes on the thing, and they still hold the, the umbrella, which are very well jeweled. Yes. So let's go to the next shloka, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Who wants to read? Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. May I, Mataji?
Yeah, please go ahead, Prabhu. Looking forward for people to read. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Shloka 18, na? Uddhavah Satyakishchaiva
Uddhava Satyakishchaiva
Vyajane Paramadbhute
Vyajane
Paramadbhute
Vikiryamanaha Kushtumai
Vikiryamanaha Kusumai
Reje Madhupati Pati
Reje Madhupati Pati.
Hare
Shall I
Krishna
read
Mataji.
translation or
Hare Krishna Mataji. Lalita Mataji has raised hand for the next sloka.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, Lalita Mataji. You can do the next sloka. Yes, Prabhu, please read the translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Uddhav and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with decorated fans, and the Lord, as the master of Madhu, seated on the scattered flowers, commanded them along the road.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who's Uddhava?
Cousin brother of Krishna.
Yes. So Uddhava is the cousin brother of Krishna. And what did he do? They were both busy fanning it, right? And who's Satvaki? Who's Satyaki?
His driver.
Yes, and yeah, exactly.
Carrier.
And he was the head of the Narayani Sena. Sorry. So so that was a specialty. So basically, they both were coming with decorated fans, and they were continuing to fan the Lord, right? And master of Madhu. Why is Krishna called Madhu?
Because he has killed the demon Madhu and some other two demons who have stolen the Vedas from the Lord Brahma.
Yes, so Madhu was a demon whom he killed. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much. They made him
Madhu and another guy also there. Madhu and some that I forget. Actually, there were two demons who stole the Vedas from the heart of.
Okay, so as of now, the name Madhusudana comes from having killed the demon Madhu. So thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And he was seated on flowers which were there, and there were flower, like just like red carpet welcome, they were giving flower carpet welcome. So which we still do when Jayapadika Guru Maharaj comes, right? We actually try and do what? We also do all this, right? Flower decoration and all that. Hare Krishna. Yes. Mataji, Prabhu, next. Yes, Lalita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ashrui. One more time. Next. Ashruyantas Satyas. तत्र द्विजेरिताः ज्ञानुरूपानुरूपाश्च निर्गुणस्य गुणात्मनः Can you scroll down?
Yeah, please read. Yeah, please go and read.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting or unbefitting because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. At places, there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being as if a cousin of Maharaja Yudhishthira. But they were also unfitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material relativities. He is nirguna, or there are no material qualities in him, but he is full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory, whereas in the relative world, everything has its opposite. In the relative world, white is the opposite conception of black. But in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned Brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. But when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Krishna is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous amongst his pure devotees as a Makanchora. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavana in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and is never praised. Since he is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him. And still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. So, why are there dualities in the material world? We've read this in the previous chapter. Why do we have dualities in the material world and we do not have such in the spiritual world?
Is the prominence of three modes of material nature that creates two extreme possibilities.
Very nice, Prabhu. So there are, three modes of material nature. So extreme possibility. One. Second. Hare Krishna. Material world is something which has dualities, which also means there is matter and spirit, right? There is matter, spirit. Now you'll ask me, Mataji, is there no matter over there? No, there's only spirit. Everything has life there. If you take Krishna's flute, it has life. The flute in our house does not have life. Mobile does not have life, right? So the point which they're talking about, everything in the spiritual world has life. So therefore, we are having very clearly what's called dualities, which are happening there in the spiritual world. But here, here in the material world, but in the spiritual world, there is absolutely no dualities. There is only one thing all the time. So which is why it is very important that we understand that dualities of life creates this. And same way, there is a very clear, there's a shloka also, right? Avajananti mamuda manushim tanum ashritaha. Why do they say avajananti mamuda? People who are fools think that Krishna is a human being. But he is the topmost. That is something which is not known. That is why he says how long it takes. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyante vasudevam sarvan miti sa mahatmas durlabha. Very, 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 very rare. So that is why our acharyas actually have very clearly told that if we can, like last time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Pran Chaitanya Prabhu also was telling, even if I can find one pure devotee, I'm happy. Right? So that means finding one pure devotee is so difficult. As so difficult is Bhakti, right? So that is why here they are talking about whatever they are talking about Krishna is befitting. At the same time, it is not befitting. Why is it befitting? Because if you tell Krishna is the younger brother of Yudhishthira, yeah, it is suiting. On the other side, is Krishna really the younger brother? Because Krishna is Adi. We say that Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. Adi means from the beginningless actually. So there is no beginning. In material world, we have a beginning, right? We have this flame to this flame, date of birth, date of death. Beginning is there, end is also there. But Krishna does not have both. So what do you even tell that? So this is what is very important, right? So we have to take that into consideration. Hare Krishna, yeah, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, one more point. Another actually is the karma, theory of karma. Because in material world we are under the influence of our own karmas, while in the spiritual world there is no such type of binding. All the karmas, matlab all karmas related to for the pleasure of Lord only. While in material world we have to face because of our own karmas. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Prabhu. Correct. As Prabhu said, in the material world, we have the cause effect. There is a particular karma effect which we have. But in the spiritual world, we do not have any such thing called the karma at all. So that's another huge difference between the material world and the spiritual world. Yes.
Devika Shetty Mataji.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shloka number 20. Anyonam asita sanjalpa.
Anyonya
Asita sanjalpa.
Uttama shloka chetasam.
Uttama
Uttama
shloka
Sloka
chetasam.
Kauravendra purastrinam.
Kauravendra purastrinam.
Sarvashruti manoharaha.
Sarvashruti manoharaha.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapura began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymns of the Vedas. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that in all the Vedic literatures, the goal is the personality of Goddess Sri Krishna. Factually, the glories of the Lord are depicted in such literature as the Vedas, Ramayana, and Mahabharata. And in the Bhagavatam, they are specifically mentioned in respect to the Supreme Lord. Therefore, while the ladies on the tops of the houses in the capital of the kings of the Kuru dynasty were talking about the Lord, their talk was more pleasing than the Vedic hymns. Anything sung in the praise of the God is Shruti Mantra. There are songs of Thakur Narottama Das, one of the acharyas in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, composed in simple Bengali language. But Thakur Vishwanatha Chakravarti, another very learned acharya of the same Sampradaya, has approved the songs by Thakur Narottama Das to be as good as Vedic mantras. And this is so because of the subject matter. The language is immaterial, but the subject matter is important. The ladies who were all absorbed in the thought and actions of the Lord developed the consciousness of Vedic wisdom by the grace of the Lord. And therefore, although such ladies might not have been very learned scholars in Sanskrit or otherwise, still whatever they spoke was more attractive than the Vedic hymns. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishad are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord, but the talks of the ladies were directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. The ladies' talks appear to be more valuable than the learned Brahmanas' benedictions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So they are talking about the talks, right? The Vedas are considered, we have already seen this also in Srimad Bhagavatam earlier. So the Brahmanas, when they do a particular shloka or they read any verse or Purana, there is a particular meter they have to follow and they are trained to do that, right? And we have, what is it, Prajavalkikas, what do you call? I'm not getting the name suddenly, if someone remembers. So,
Parivrajakacharyas.
thank you so much. So Parivrajkas, what happens is when they actually try and tell, they do not know the meter, they don't know, but the Bhakti is very pure. One is not less than the other, one is not greater than the other. They are actually in the same platform because both of them are looking at praising Krishna. Now, coming to these ladies, they are just normal household ladies. They are devotees of Krishna, no doubt, but they are, whatever they are singing in praise of Krishna. So what are they actually doing? They are doing nothing but prajalpa, bitching. They are doing prajalpa of Krishna, but that's so sweet because thinking of Krishna, talking about Krishna in a nice way or in a bad way. He scolded, he got nicely whacked by Yashoda Mai. One used to tell. One will tell, hey, he's such a sweet darling. Even though they were actually doing prajalpa about Krishna, anything related to Krishna is directly connecting you to Krishna. It's Krishna Kada. right? It connects you to Krishna. It makes you really hug you with Krishna. So that's the deep connect on that. Now, what is the difference? Now, let's take a simple shloka, right? So if just imagine, what does a shloka generally talk about? Shloka will generally talk about Krishna is the Adi Purusha, and Krishna has got a lot of power. He is the supreme personality of Godhead. He is the creator. He is the maintainer. He has a translator. These are the typical things, right? So if you're going to put it in a shloka form, how will it be? So like Narayanam Namaskritam, Naram, like the same met if you do Krishna as the original form. Krishna has his own energy. Krishna has has the topmost bhakti. He's the creator, he's the maintainer, he's the destroyer, he is transcendental form, he is great, he is looking so tall, and he is the most powerful, he is the Lord of the universe. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? The point, what happens is, though shlokas becomes sometimes very mechanical. So this is the difference between a Smarta Brahmin and a Vaishnava also, because Vaishnava actually speaks from his heart, whereas a Smarta Brahmin may speak from the book. I am not trying to tell a Smarta Brahmin's bhakti is less, but I'm only telling that when they connect to the impersonal Brahma Jyoti, what happens is naturally the connect is lower. I am constantly listening to just some noise, right? Whether it's a voice or a noise becomes only noise. But if I'm connected to a person, I would like that. I would like to interact with the person. And Krishna is a person. We all want interaction. We do not want monologue, right? So that is what makes a difference. So all these ladies, even though they are faltering in their grammar, faltering in their words, faltering in their meter, Krishna enjoys them more than any of the Brahmanas version, because he feels he feels that they are more sweeter because they are from the heart. Which is why you will see many of them who do not have a great voice, but when they sing, we get terribly attracted. Why? Because their bhava is outstanding. And many times you see when you have gone to temple, I'm sure many of you all will agree to this. I will just start feeling that for a moment I'm a pure devotee because your eyes are watering, the voice is so attractive. Yes or no? Have you all felt that some kirtans are like mind-boggling and you just, it takes your breath away? Have you felt it or no?
Yes,
Yes, Mataji.
So it's not because of the version of that, it is only because of the fact that the kirtan singer is a very pure devotee. Because of that exalted version of them, the voice which comes out. I have experienced this. I would like to take a minute off. I am sure many of you all came to Mayapur, right? So Mayapur, we had Sachinanda Prabhu's Kirtan, right? So how beautiful his Kirtan was. He was singing in Mayapur in the temple hall. And I could notice the way the floor was vibrating, right? Sachidananda Prabhu's voice was loud. The floor was vibrating. We had strictly followed, we keep telling that men-women concept happened in the Muslim rule, which actually is not very true, because when, I'll come to what Prabhupada told about that a little later, but I will talk about Sachidananda Prabhu's version. So when he was chanting, I just noticed we were just not able to maintain the men-women borders, which is there in Mayapur. We just breached, we went, and I noticed all of us went to him, not because we know him, but because the Kirtan was mind-blowing. Anyone who witnessed that, and I think I've shared it in most of the classes, because it has so much of bhakti in it, compassion in it, that I am sure that even if not in Mayapur, everybody had a chance to listen to his Kirtan. And I still remember Namnishta Prabhu, when we went to a temple, and when he was chanting for 2-3 minutes, I went up to him and he said, "How is it?" I said, "Nice, Prabhu, it was too short." Before we could get in, it was out. He said, "If you want long, strong, you have to call Sachidananda Prabhu." No doubt, Namnishta Prabhu is very humble that he passes all the credits to all of us. But having said that, what I'm saying is that's the power of Kirtan, right? If you have devotion in it, it can really take you on. I have a friend of mine who's a playback singer, and she tells me that the amount of satisfaction she has today in singing the Lord's Kirtan is 1,000,000 times more than she got applause as a playback singer. And I have personally seen her voice actually going by the roof, because I've seen her having so much of involvement and passion when she has to sing Krishna's song, right? So that is something which really makes a difference. And I can't really vouch for this because I have a lot of men and women who are singers. If I sing, I'm sure people will run away, because neither I have a voice nor I have bhakti set in me. But people who have both are great, and people who have any one are still great, right? I'm talking about even if they have just bhakti, even if they don't have voice, if that's coming out in the voice, it really can take someone to the next level. So Yeah. So let's move on to 1.10.21. Yes, Reena Mataji.
Reena Mataji.
Thank you, bro.
Hare Krishna. Savai kilayam purushah puratano.
Savai kilayam purushah puratmano.
Eka asida vishesha atmani.
Ya
eka
asid
avesha atmani.
Agre gunebhyo jagatatmanishvare.
Agre gunebhyo jagatmanishvare.
Nimilitatmannishi sukta shaktishu.
Nimilitatmannishi sukta shaktishu.
Very nicely chanted. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Go ahead and read.
I'm not seeing synonyms are there. Okay. And translation. They said, here he is, the original personality of Godhead, as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. But you want me to read Mataji?
Mataji, read the purport. Because with that only I'll be able to explain.
Okay. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There are two types of dissolution of the manifested cosmos. At the end of every 43 crores 20 lakh solar years, when Brahma, the Lord of one particular universe, goes to sleep, there is one annihilation. And at the end of the Lord Brahma's life, which takes place at the end of Brahma's 100 years of age, in our calculation, at the end of 86 crore 40 lakhs into 30 into 12 into 100 solar years, there is complete annihilation of the entire universe. And in both the periods, both the material energy called the Mahat Tattva and the marginal energy called Jiva Tattva merge in the person of the Supreme Lord. The living beings remain asleep within the body of the Lord until there is another creation of the material world, and that is the way of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material manifestation. You want me to continue, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, no problem, Mataji. Please go ahead, continue.
Okay. The material creation is affected by the interaction of the three modes of material nature set in action by the Lord. And therefore, it is said here that the Lord existed before the modes of material nature were set in motion. In the Shruti mantra, it is said that only Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, existed before the creation, and there was no Brahma, Shiva, or other demigods. Vishnu means the Mahavishnu, who is lying on the causal ocean. By his breathing only, all the universes are generated in seeds and gradually develop into gigantic forms with innumerable planets within each and every universe. The seeds of universes develop into gigantic forms in the way seeds of a banyan tree develop into numberless banyan trees. This Mahavishnu is the plenary portion of the Lord Sri Krishna, who is mentioned in the Brahma Samhita 5.48 as follows. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the original Supreme Personality of Godhead Govinda, whose plenary portion is the Mahavishnu. All the Brahmas, the heads of the universes, live only for the period of his exhaling after the universes are generated from the pores of his transcendental body. Thus, Govinda or Lord Krishna is the cause of Mahavishnu also. The ladies talking about this Vedic truth must have heard it from authoritative sources. An authoritative source is the only means of knowing about transcendental subject matter definitely. There is no alternative. The merging of the living beings into the body of Mahavishnu takes place automatically at the end of Brahma's 100 years. But that does not mean that the individual living being loses his identity. The identity is there, and as soon as there is another creation by the supreme will of the Lord, all the sleeping, inactive living beings are again let loose to begin their activities in the continuation of past different spheres of life. It is called Suptotihita Nyaya, or awakening from sleep and again engaging in one's respective continuous duty. When a man is asleep at night, he forgets himself, when he is, what his duty is, and everything of his waking state. But as soon as he awakens from slumber, he remembers all that he has to do and thus engages himself again in his prescribed activities. The living beings all also remain merged in the body of Mahavishnu during the period of annihilation. But as soon as there is another creation, they arise to take up their unfinished work. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.18 to 19. The Lord existed before the creative energy was set in action. The Lord is not a product of the material energy. His body is completely spiritual, and there is no difference between his body and himself. Before creation, the Lord remained in his abode, which is absolute and one. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. It's very beautifully read and very beautiful purport also. Let me try. It's very interesting. So I'm going to start from the beginning. So there are various kinds of end of life, right? The first one is that I am born today and I die, which varies from every yuga. In Kali Yuga, it's 100 years and keep adding 110. In the previous Yuga, Dwapara, it was 1000. In Treta Yuga, it was 10,000. And Satya Yuga, it was 1 lakh, right? This is one death. The second one is Brahma's life. Before we get into Brahma's life, we'll take Brahma's day and night, right? So Brahma's one day, that is daytime, is 4.32 billion years. Similar is night, 4.32. I'm not going to add because there is a Sandhya Kala and all that. So basically, 12 hours of, 12 human hours of Brahma is equal to 4.32 billion hours billion years of human years, right? So this is second death. So what happens during that time is all the lokas, we have 14 planetary lokas. Of that, the top 3 lokas stay intact. The bottom lokas, all of them actually go underwater. So all of them go. This is called the partial annihilation. This happens during the night of Brahma, and during the day, everything resumes position. Now, what happens is very similar. So all of us are going to go to sleep and get up in the morning. So what happened? Like, let's take a classic example of last night. How many of us are there? About 21 of us here. All of us are sleeping. And when we wake up, what happens is we think, okay, fine, we have to do our japa. We have to aktar makalatri. We have to finish quickly our prasad, serve the Lord, and come back and listen to Bhakti Vaibhav class, right? So this is there in our mind. It is not that we have slept and therefore we've forgotten it. We have that in our memory. Likewise, what they are telling is in Brahma's life, during the daytime, we are all parts. All this is happening. And during the night, what happens is all except the top 3 planets go underwater. And again, the next morning, all of us are reborn and we come with the same memory, which means not the memory of the previous Janma, but the impressions in our subtle body. Mind, false ego, and intelligence plays the same role. Sometime back, Prabhu was talking about the 3 modes. Here, the influence is there. Most of us would have come across children who are at the age of 3 months, 4 months, have different preferences. I know my friend's daughter at the age of 5 months, 6 months, she used to have rasam. Rasam, I don't know what you call for rasam in Hindi or English, but rasam is something which we pour in the rice and we eat. She used to have it very spicy, not even add ghee to it, because the small child, 5, 6 months, will refuse if it was less spicy or less. So I used to think all the time that this was my friend's practice, which could be there. I'm not denying that. But the taste, right, comes also from your previous impressions. That is why most of the time you see a particular child enjoys a Hare Krishna mantra or another child does not like. They like this music because all are impressions which are formed in the previous birth. So these are 2 types of death. The other third one is during the lifetime of Brahma. Does anyone recall what is the life of Brahma in human years? Hare Krishna.
300 trillion 42
300
trillion
years.
years.
311.04, yeah, trillion years, right? 311 trillion years literally is the life, human life of Brahma's life, right? So Brahma stays that long. And what happens after this? There is a total annihilation, which means all of them go into the stomach of Vishnu. There are 2 things which can happen. Now, Brahma, along with Brahma in Brahmalok, all of them who have been chanting elevated position goes directly to Vaikuntha or Goloka, depending on whatever they have done. The rest of them, and of course, some of our conditional purified souls also go there. But the rest of us go back into Vishnu. Why am I taking the liberty of using the word us here? Is because that's why we are all here, right? Otherwise, we will all be sitting in Vaikuntha. So we've all come back in the sense we've been having many years together. We've gone into the stomach of Vishnu, and we are again coming back into the same thing. Why does this happen? Because Vishnu is tired and he gives up. Every breath is what all this is about. And again, he feels, okay, let me give a chance to the conditional soul. And he is not present. He comes in the form of Shastras and tells us and sends sadhu. So sadhu, Shastra are two ways where he tries to bring us back. In spite of that, he also comes for annihilating the man. Many times there's a misconception, is Krishna partial? Krishna is favorable. So, why is he behaving like that? So, some people is like that and all that. But the point is, there's a statement which all of you all know. The parent is never partial. A king is never partial. We read this again. So I'm trying to take references from our own Bhagavatam, which we remember. Like for a king, the prisoner and is also a citizen. He just doesn't want him to be a prisoner. But the fact is, it's forcing him to. So what does Krishna do? When you make one mistake, and if you look out for him, he becomes your charioteer. And he guides the devotees. But for a non-devotee, he sometimes keeps them away from sadhu because he doesn't want them to make more aparads. And beyond the point, he knows that he can't do anything. He just, he just finishes their life, which are the pastime. It's not that Krishna loves to kill. There is no difference between Krishna hugging Arjuna or killing, which is why in Chet, our Shishtastakam also he says, right? No matter what you do, whether you hug me or you throw me out, I would always love you. You should always love me. You should be the one who does that. You either kick me or you hold me or hug me. You are the one who should do this. This is something which he's talking about. So we should remember this note. So this is how the whole thing goes on. So who is Mahavishnu? So in Brahma Samhita 5.48, right? I think that's a version. Can you just go back, Prabhu? So that is what it says. So it's like, why does it say Yasye Kanishvashita Kala Matavalambya Jivanti Loma Vilaja Jagadanda Nada Vishnur Mahansa Ihayasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajami. So what they are telling is Nishvashita Kalam. So Vishnu comes and does this work again and again. And that Vishnu is Mahavishnu. He is also called Karano Dakasai Vishnu, who is in the Karana ocean or the causal ocean, right? With this, the whole thing comes again. And so they are telling that, coming back, what are they telling? The previous sloka, they said Krishna is the Ishvara, and here they are trying to tell that Krishna is the creator, annihilator, and the maintainer, right? So that's the three tasks which he does. So this is the Tathagata Shakti, which is secondary activities of Krishna. The first one talks about primary activity, right? So that primary activity means the main activities, right? So he is the Adi Purusha, Ishvara, Satchidananda Vigraha. If you take Satchidananda Vigraha, that becomes the main thing, right? Swarupa Lakshana, which means a primary role. These are secondary, which is called the Tataksha Lakshana, which means the secondary role of Krishna, which is the maintainer, creator, animator. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Go ahead.
Shyama Gopika Devi Dasi Mataji has raised that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, go ahead.
Yeah. Saiva bhuyo nijavirya choditam.
Saeva bhuyo
Bhuyo
nijavirya
choditam
Swajiva mayam prakritim sishrikshatim.
Sajiva mayam kritim shishrishatim
Shrikshatim
Anama rupatmani rupanamani.
Nama rupa
Namarupa
nirupanamani
Vidit samano anusastara sastrakrit.
Vidit
Vidit
samano
samano
sasara
sasara shastrakrit
shastrakrit.
Need to repeat, Mataji?
No, Mataji, translation.
Go ahead with the translation, Mataji.
Translate. Okay. The personality of Godhead, again desiring to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, the living entities, placed them under the guidance of material nature. By his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. Purport. The living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord. They are of two varieties, namely Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. The Nitya Muktas are eternally liberated souls. and they are eternally engaged in the reciprocation loving service with the Lord in his eternal abode beyond the manifested mundane creations. But the Nityabaddha or eternally conditioned souls are entrusted to his external energy, Maya, for rectification of their rebellious attitude towards the Supreme Father. Nityabaddhas are eternally forgetful of their relationship with the Lord as parts and parcels. They are bewildered by the illusory energy as products of matter, and thus they are very busy in making plans in the material world for becoming happy. They go on merrily with the plans, but by the will of the Lord, both the plan makers and the plans are annihilated at the end of a certain period, as above mentioned. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 9.7 as follows. O son of Kunti, at the end of millennium, all the living entities merge into my nature, and again when the time of creation is ripe, I begin creation by the agency of my external energy. The word bhuyaha indicates again and again. That is to say, the process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation is going on perpetually by the external energy of the Lord. He is the cause of everything, but the living beings who are constitutionally part and parcel of the Lord and are forgetful of the sweet relation are given a chance again and again to get rid of the clutches of the external energy and to revive the living being's consciousness. The revealed scriptures are also created by the Lord. Vedic literatures are the guiding directions for the conditioned souls so they can get free from the repetition of creation and annihilation of the material world and the material body. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, this created world and material energy are under my control. Under the influence of Prakriti, automatically they are created again and again. And this is done by me through the agency of my external energy. Actually, the spiritual spark living entities have no material names or forms, but in order to fulfill their desire to lord it over the material nature, material energy of material forms and names, they are given a chance for such false enjoyment. And at the same time, they are given a chance to understand the real position through the revealed scriptures. The foolish and forgetful living being is always busy with the false forms and false names. Modern nationalism is the culmination of such false names and false forms. Men are mad after false name and false form. The form of body obtained under certain conditions is taken up as factual, and the name also taken bewilders the conditioned soul into misusing the energy in the name of so many isms. The scripture, however, supply the clue for understanding the real position. But men are reluctant to take lessons from the scriptures created by the Lord for different places and times. For example, the Bhagavad Gita is the guiding principle for all human beings. But by the spell of material energy, they do not take care to carry out the programs of lives in terms of Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam is the postgraduate study of the knowledge for one who has thoroughly understood the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Unfortunately, people have no taste for them, and therefore they are under the clutches of Maya for repetition of birth and death. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Srimad Bhagavatam glories, right? We have this question which may come in thematic as well. What are the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam? It is starting from the third sloka. Nigama kalpataro galitam palam shukamuka amritatrava samyutam pibaka bhagavatam rasamalayam muraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha, which means it is like a ripened fruit. From Shuka's mouth, it is still better. It's such a beautiful shloka. So, what is the story of Srimad Bhagavatam? Originally, Srimad Bhagavatam was told by Brahma to Narada. It was only 4 shlokas. After that, Vyasa gave us, how many shlokas are there in Srimad Bhagavatam?
17,000.
18,000.
18,000.
Shlokas across, 12 cantos. So many slokas are there in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is for us to understand. As I said, there is no difference between Krishna and his pastimes. And it is considered as a postgraduate because the moment you understand the principles of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam is the most important book which we have to read. Reason being, Bhagavad Gita are instructions of Krishna, by Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam talks about people who have lived their lives based on the principles, right? So it is not only going to help us to live the life, it also tells us how we can live our life. So both are explained very clearly in Srimad Bhagavatam, and hence Srimad Bhagavatam is most important. Now, Isha Upanishad also says, right? Yes, so basically what they're talking about, we are part and parcels of Krishna. So both of shlokas, which are 6 and 7, very clearly talks about the fact that we are part and parcels of Krishna, which is what everybody says. And all these isms are, what altruism, all of them, which we talk about, are expansions. Most of the time, you will see 10 minutes. Yes. All of them we are talking about what? That we are all expansions of Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. All these isms are nothing but expansion. Many people tell, I don't do anything for me. I do only for my children. I do only for my wife. I do only for my husband. But who's that husband? We won't do for the neighbor, right? It's because we are enjoying. We do for our country. So there is an I factor in all these things. So this is something which we have to really take into consideration. So we have to go by our Isha Upanishad mantra 6 and 7. What does it say? Yastu sarvani bhutani atmaneva anupashyati sarva bhuteshu chatmanam tadona vijugupshate. So which clearly says that we are part and parcels of Krishna. Our constitution position is to serve Krishna. Only then we will be happy. Many people will tell, I don't need happiness. I want peace. Why? We should settle for happiness, right? We are happy people. We've been happy. Why should we settle for peace? We always tell life is a compromise. Okay. But we should always remember we are spiritual souls in human body. We are not human souls in human body, right? We are actually spiritual. So it's like fish out of water. If a fish is removed out of water, it suffocates. It has become dukale ashashvatam for us because we do not belong here. We belong to the spiritual world. And Krishna treats everyone equally. We saw that in the previous shloka. Ye tam mam prapadyante tam tateva bhajamyaham. Manam atmanu vartante manushyam partha sarvashah. He treats everybody equally. But it is just like a very obedient child or a very dependent child. Parents always do the extra care, smaller child, dependent child. Why? Because the child is totally dependent on the parent. Same way, a devotee is totally dependent on Krishna. They do not know anything other than Krishna. They will have problems. Yes, they will have problems, but Krishna will do the hand-holding. He will do the uplifting for them. Whereas for the devotees, they are confident they can, non-devotees or the atheists, they are confident they are on their own. So just like parents, right? If there is a child which is very arrogant, the parents will watch, but they will still have to give the child, okay, you want to do it. They can't help. That's the same thing. Krishna is helpless because we have to allow Krishna to help us. So that's the beautiful point which is told here. And some more points which are coming up is Bhuyaha, means again and again, which means the whole cosmic world is coming again.
10 minutes.
There are two kinds of people who are called the Nitya Baddhas. Yes, Prabhu, sorry, you wanted something? I'll finish this. Nitya Muktas and Nitya Bhaddhas. Nitya Bhaddhas are those who are conditioned souls who are stuck here. Nitya Muktas, give me examples of Nitya Mukta. Nitya Bhaddhas, we are all there, all our names. Nitya Muktas, any example of Nitya Mukta?
Shukadev Goswami.
Hari Bol, Sukadev Goswami. Some more?
Narad Muni.
Narad Muni, very nice.
Four
All the
Kumaras.
Goswamis, Mataji.
All this, absolutely, Mataji. Thank you so much. Sad Goswamis, Hare Krishna.
Vyasadeva.
Vyasadev.
Pandavas.
Pandavas. Right? So these are people who have given us different styles of living. As I said, Jnana Karmani Sunyam styles are also there. Sadguru, your Sat Goswamis. And we also have Jnana Karmani Anavritam, like all of them. Right? All the Mahajans are living to give us an example for this. Right? So that is why there are 12 Mahajans whom they've spoken of. So Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu, Kumaro Janako, Kapilo, Prahlado, Bhishmo, Bali, Vaya, Shakir, Vayam. So these are the 12 Mahajans highlighted throughout, and all of them are great in their own way. Now, who is a Mahajan, by the way? We are talking about 12 Mahajans. We should understand who are these Mahajans.
Bhishma Pitadev, Narad Muni.
Yeah, who are they? On what basis do they become Mahajans?
Spiritually realized.
Yes, they are spiritually realized, and they are setting examples for all of us to follow a path. So all whatever we said, Anya, Abhilashita, Sunyam. So all these qualities they have 24/7, they are directly connected to Krishna. Mataji, but they are doing only karma panam. They are doing karma and giving to Krishna. No, they are not doing karma panam. They are doing karma as an example. Arjuna always thought of Krishna. Krishna said that, right? As you are fighting, you think of me. Did Krishna tell, okay, you finish fighting and then morning, Mangalarti, 4 o'clock, you attend? He didn't say that. Bhagavad Gita was taught during the war, which means the most important, crucial time was war, and Bhagavad Gita was taught. So it shows how crucial Bhagavad Gita is. Bhagavad Gita was taught to Arjuna, and Krishna is telling, think of me all the time. Right? All the time you should. Satatam kirtayanto mam. Yatantasta dridavataha. Always. Namasyastascha mam bhaktya. Nitya yukta upashate. All the time think of me. That's all. Finish, right? One arrow. We are all the time dreaming. But Budakesha, Arjuna cannot even sleep or blink for a second. If he can do things parallelly, then where are we? We should also be doing things parallelly. If time permits, I can always tell a story at the end. We've been missing story sessions. So how many more are there? I think pretty much are there. Is there any doubts you all have? Because we have 7 more. I don't think I'll be able to raise so much. I'll leave the floor to Prabhu. So you all have any doubts so far?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Nitya Siddha means what, Mataji? Nitya Baddha and Nitya.
Okay, so basically Nitya Mukta, Nitya Baddha. So Nitya Mukta means liberated soul. Like our Prabhupada, right? Srila Prabhupada is what? He's a liberated soul. Arjuna is a liberated soul. All of them are eternally liberated.
Eternally, yeah, eternally.
Yes. And
Nitya Siddha Mataji. Nitya Siddha. Siddha Mataji.
Is it
both
mentioned?
are synonym, Mataji. Nitya Mukta and Nitya
There is no
Siddha, both are synonym.
I'm just checking the book also. It's only Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha.
Nitya Siddha also we know, Mataji.
Does it
Siddha
come?
will be realized, Mataji, self-realized.
Yeah. So is it mentioned in the book or it's generally a question? Mataji, is it a general?
I'm not able to recall, Mataji, but where exactly? But I have heard that word, Mataji. Nitya Siddha.
Nitya.
In scripture only I have heard, Mataji.
Is it there coming in this verse? Just let me just.
In this verse it is not there, Mataji. In this only those 2 words are there. Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha.
Mataji,
Nitya Siddha is a word which sometimes is used for a pure devotee.
Mataji, it comes in a different context. I'll tell you where. Don't mix it with this. There, thank you, Prabhu. So there it comes as Nitya Siddha, Sadhana Siddha. I think you're bringing into that. So Nitya Siddha is someone who's as Prabhu said, he is someone who is always, he's never contaminated. He's always in that, like Mahajan or Mahabharata, like they're permanently liberated, right? Whereas Sadhana Siddha is somebody who is doing sadhana. Like, for example, we are all coming under sadhana. We are not yet siddhis, but I'm just telling you, hopefully there. And there is also Kripa Siddha. Example, our, what's his name? What is her name? Who wrote Ramayana? Valmiki. Yeah, Valmiki and Mrihari, all of them are Kripa. There are no way close to any of them. They neither did sadhana nor they are nitya, but they got Kripa of Narada and they became elevated. So that is more from the sadhana. So please don't confuse this with that. There are 2 different concepts. You are talking about here what they are talking about Nitya Mukta and Nitya Baddha. So which means Nitya means permanent, right? Nitya Mukta means elevated, right? Liberated. Nitya Baddha means conditioned soul. So these are 2 categories. Whatever you're telling is about the way they do sadhana siddhis. And that also, if you want me to tell in one line, they are talking about elevated souls. Whatever you told. But that's on a very different context. This is what I understand. Maybe we can clarify with further, or I can come back. Is that okay?
Thank you, Mr. Hare
That's
Krishna.
fine.
So what did we do quickly on these slokas? After the women were glorifying Krishna, what are they glorifying on? Krishna as the original Purusha, and that he is empowered for recreation, entire own energy. So creation, annihilation, all of that is his own energy. And Lord's form is actually can be seen only through bhakti, right? Nothing else can be seen. That is what we are talking about, and that can be seen by our Nitya Muktas, right? Ever. And we are conditional souls because we are stuck with Maya. However, we have also seen Devi Esha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Duratyaya, Mame Vaya Prapadyante, Maya Metantarantite. With Maya, which is Krishna is Nirguna, but Maya is his energy, and with that, he will be able to do that. And that is what we have to talk about, right? So, so what other things? So anything else you all want to understand? The next 24 and 25 will be talking about creation, destruction, and the transcendental forms of Lord. These are big purports. So is there anything else? Otherwise, if you have a time for a story, I can tell the story.
Story.
Yeah, I know. It's long since I have told. So I think many of you will know the story, but I'm going to repeat the story because we are reading about Mahajans and how can we do two jobs at the same time. Prabhu, we can stop screen share if that's okay. I want my face big. Sorry, just 1 second. Sorry, just 1 second. Just fix my charge. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So right now we will see the story of Janaka Maharaj. Okay. So since we spoke about sadhus and Nitya Muktas and Nitya Siddhas and all that, so quickly what happens is Janaka Maharaj, obviously Mahajan, so he is there in the kingdom and there are these sadhus who are coming. So the sadhus are coming and asking Janaka Maharaj, you're doing karmapanam, right? So basically karmapanam in the sense you're doing your karma, your regular duties, prescribed duty. And how do you think of Krishna? Because they are two different things. So he says the way you all think. They say that no, we are not, we are renounced. We are going to Himalayas, we are sitting on the deer skin. We are only thinking of Krishna. But you're also running a kingdom and also thinking of Krishna. It's like two different difficult tasks, right? Way apart. So Janaka Maharaj is telling, okay, then come tomorrow. When you're coming tomorrow, I will explain the entire story as to how I'm able to do two things. They say, should we wait till tomorrow? He says, yes, because tomorrow I want to give a feast for all of you all. I'll arrange for a feast. I want you all to have stomach full and I will give you the answer. So all of them are taken and very nicely, you know how a feast, a king's feast will be, it'll be like really taken care. And what he does is he has a lot of decorations, how the kingdom will be decorated. And there are swords on the head. Like, I mean, it's not on the head, but just little above the head when they sit down. And all these sadhus are looking up and they're telling, what is this? Janaka Maharaj is telling, you don't worry. They are absolutely safe. These are Kshatriya decorations of the kingdom. And this is how we greet the, special guests. I want you all to enjoy the food. So all of them were given thorough, very nice meals and many of them ate very soon. Some of them got up. And after that, Janaka Maharaj asked, what did you all eat? How was it? And they were barely able to recall what food they ate, even though the platter was amazing, taste was good. And they said, yeah, nice. And there was a very honest, sannyasi who actually told that, sorry, I could not concentrate because I was like thinking of the sword all the time. I was eating, I finished, my stomach is full. I was constantly having the knife on the top, in my head. He said, but I assured you that it will not fall. He said, yes. And I also should understand that I'm a sannyasi. I should not be scared of these. But I should also tell you that I was not scared. I trust you. But still the sword was hanging on top. So Janaka said, so imagine in fear, we think of two things, right? As you were eating, you were constantly thinking of that knife is what, and everybody agreed. Yes, we also felt. And then he said, just like how there's a knife hand on top of your head, right? You're constantly thinking of that. I constantly think of Krishna as I'm doing work. When you can do, you are also capable of doing, I mean, obviously Janaka Maharaj is very down to earth, unlike us, right? If it was me, I'll say, see, I am multitasker, I can do two jobs. But Janaka Maharaj didn't say like that. He didn't brag this way. He just said that you are also capable of doing two tasks. When you can do a task, which is your routine job, along with a negative task, how easy it would be for anyone to do a task which is positive, like thinking of Krishna and keeps you happy all the time. So all the time in your life, you can always do two tasks, two jobs all the time. So this is how we can do two jobs, is what he taught. And this is a lesson which I thought I would share because most of us are struggling doing one job properly. And Janaka, who's a Mahajan, has taught us how we can do both the jobs together. So instead of working for Krishna, and doing everything for Krishna and giving it as karmapanam, which you also call Krishnarpanam. There is another way is, as we are doing karma, always think of Krishna, either in the form of music or in the form of lectures. So we can do two activities together, and that will be directly connecting us constantly all the time to define this this definition of Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavridam Anukulena Krishnanu Sheelanam Bhakti Uttama. Right? So with this, I will pause. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna
Mataji.
Mataji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I think 12 on dot. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnava Jai Srila Prabhupada Jai Namacharya Haridas Thakur Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much.
Thank you very much.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank
Mataji.
you,
One question,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please go.
Mataji.
Please keep it
Mataji,
simple.
Gnana Karma Anavrutam, can you explain, Mataji? Because you quoted many times, I felt
Sure.
like you have realized about that verse. So, Gnana
Yeah,
Karma
no,
Anavrutam.
Second number.
Sure. So, can you see me? Okay. Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavrutam. I'll tell the full thing, Mataji. It will be easier for everybody to understand. Anybody who wants to leave the class can leave the class because class is officially over. Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavrutam Anukuleni Krishnanu Sheelanam Bhakti Uttama. For Uttama Bhakti, these are the requirements. In that, what happens? Swarupa Lakshanam is only the third line, right? Anukuleni Krishna Anushilanam. You understood that, right? So what do you mean by Anukulena Krishna? Just 1 second, Mataji. I'll just stop this one. Okay, Hare Krishna. So what do you understand by Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam? So Anukuleni Krishna Anushilanam. Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavritam Anukuleni Krishnanushilanam Bhakti Uttama. Anukuleni Krishnani Shulanam is the main line, right? This is the topmost Bhakti, which means this is the Swarupa Lakshana, primary reason or the primary concept, right? Now the other two things, what happens is you have Anya Abhilashita Sunyam, which means all other desires should be zero. Which includes what? Which includes that I am the father, I am the mother, or I am a Brahmana, bodily designations. That becomes zero. Now, that's basically whatever. All other material designation, we are linking to our Nectar of Devotion, other shloka also, right? Sarvo Pani Vinik Muttam, Tat Paritvena Nirmalam, Rishikesha Sevana, Bhakti Uttama. If you connect these two, that will match. Now, the second one is Jnana Karmani Anavritam. It can also be Sunyam, right? Sunya means we cannot do Jnana and Karma at all. That means we have to give up everything. Karma means I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya. Jnana means the first one connects to your body. Jnana connects to the soul, right? Your mind you control, 6th chapter. So that also you have to give up. Practically not possible. And it will actually make people fall because what will happen? People will premature or what you call, without, it will make them mrityachara because they will go running telling that Krishna has told 18.66. Right? Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam vajaham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha ikshami ilmasucha. Taken care. Rupa Goswami says this shloka. Taken care. So I will give up. Now, to give it as a practice for people, they have told Jnana Karmani Anavritam, which means that the covering of Jnana and Karma has to be removed, which also means that as you are practicing Jnana and Karma, not just the Karma Panam or Jnana, both links to Bhakti, but the entire process, like Janaka Maharaj or Arjuna, while they are doing the Karma, constantly thinking of Krishna directly connects to Krishna. So what is Uttama Bhakti? What is pure devotional service? Pure devotional service means Krishna consciousness, which means I am the servitor of Krishna. I am servitor for Krishna. This is the concept which we should have. So how can I which means what? Anushilanam, I serve by action. All of them serve by action. Jnana, Karma, all of them body, mind. What differentiates that from Bhakti? Anushilanam, 24 hours, 1 point, right? How it makes us a pure devotee. If you want to become a pure devotee, you have other material desires should be gone out of the window. Anya Bilashita Sunyam, taken care. Jnana Karmani, Sunyam, only one set of people qualify, making a lot of us mrityachar. So Anavrita means the covering, right? It's like the clouds which removes, shows the sun. So the covering of Jnana and Karma is removed. right? It's not completely removed, but the covering, whatever is shielding that, we will jointly do and thinking of Krishna all the time. 24/7, if you're thinking of Krishna, then that is what pure devotional service is. Favorably, 24 hours thinking of Krishna constantly, only directly of Krishna, not indirectly. So when you're doing jnana or karma, like in my case, I will do karma, but after that I may go and offer it to Lord, right? So by doing a particular karma, I am not actually having bhakti in that karma. You're getting my point? Like, for example, let's say that let's say I'm just doing farming. I'm just doing farming by itself. I'm not getting any, farming is just an activity. It is favorable karma because it's not against Shastra. But farming by itself is not bhaktitvam. I go and give that result of the farming to Krishna, right? Then that farming gets bhaktitvam, gets bhakti in it. So that is going to be the end result. Like that, I'm doing jnana. I'm just giving you the second possibility. I'm doing jnana. I'm controlling the mind to do chanting. Controlling the mind is not going to connect me to Lord. Controlling the mind to do proper chanting is connecting to Lord. But both these activities are not directly Krishna consciousness, because they by themselves are supporting bhakti only if bhakti is there. Otherwise, by just doing jnana or just doing karma, there is not even devotion. So these two, by giving to Krishna, makes one a karma yogi or a jnana yogi, but does not make him a pure devotee. Because a pure devotee's definition is Anya Abhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmani Anavritam Anukuleni Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttamam. Yes, it is. So the only way you can directly connect him to Krishna is by body, mind, is while you're doing the karmapanam farming, I constantly think of Krishna. It can be anyway. I can be chanting, I can listen to music of Krishna, I can hear Srimad Bhagavatam 24/7 if I'm doing, then I will do pure devotional service. Which is what all these people who are setting an example did, which means jnana and karma is there, but it's covered. So just, you're not trying to completely remove, you're not making it sunyam, but you're just covering them to make our bhakti more prominent. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji.
So, to the extent I understand.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna. We'll end the session.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna Mataji.
That
Thank
was
you
a
so
very
much.
nice explanation.
Thank you so
Thank
much. Hare Krishna. I'm glad I could do
Yeah,
something.
very nice class, Mataji, it was. Hare
Thank
Bol
you so
Mataji.
much. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare
do
Krishna.
we will be able to have exam next week because I was not able to complete what we are supposed to. I'm so sorry.
Next week exam.
It was originally
said-
planned to be next week, which is what I
No,
had.
no. He didn't confirm that. He
Didn't
said
confirm.
either 16th or 23rd. He was not very sure.
Okay. In
So
which case, I don't think next week we can have.
Mataji, I think until unless he shared that sample paper, no? From that day, he will do 2
I'm
weeks
talking
time.
about thematic exam. You're talking about thematic. I'm talking about this chapter exam.
Okay, this is not complete, no, Mataji?
This is what I'm telling. We were supposed to complete today and give the exam next week. Unfortunately, I've been short of 7.
It's fortunate only, Mataji, not unfortunate.
Fortunate, yeah. Very fortunate.
Started also 10 minutes late, like sort of bit of a.
Okay.
Sorry about it. So Pran Chaitanya Prabhu will come and finish, and maybe we'll take some time to check with him about thematic questions. Next week we'll have more time. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.